This iOS app makes $15,000 a month. I saw it and I thought, screw it. I can build this better by myself. And so I did. All the same features plus more. Better design, better look, and the best part, I used AI to build the entire thing for me. No coding, no dev team, just me, my laptop, and some stubbornness. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I built it step by step, which AI tools I used, plus all the tricks that I wish I knew before spending hundreds of hours building apps. Let's get into it. So I actually built this app for myself initially. It was not meant to be for other people. I really just wanted this personally for myself. But after talking with a friend, I figured, you know what, I think this could be beneficial for other people too. I mean, I know it could. And so, I spent the time, and I'm not going to lie, I initially thought this was going to take me like 2 weeks to build out the whole thing. And it ended up taking 2 months, which is unfortunate, but that's just the way things go sometimes. I will say, if I had to do it again today, though, with the advancements in AI, the advancements in large language models, the different coding tools that are out there now, and even a bunch of the tips and tricks that I've learned while just building this app along with a few others, I realized that I could probably do it twice as fast, if not even faster. So hopefully that's inspiring to you guys. I think it's going to get even better, and that's a pro and a con, because if you look at it like that, 2 years from now, it's going to be probably twice as easy, 3 times as easy to build an app, which means that now's the time. Like, you got to get on it right now. You could wait 2-3 years and hope that no one else takes your idea, but when it's 2-3 times easier, the amount of people who are going to be publishing apps and getting them out there, and the possibility that your idea is going to be taken and implemented by someone else is just going to be higher. So I recommend, if you have an idea, just go at it. Go do it. It's fun, especially when you can build something that it starts in your mind and you can create it, you can see it, you can experience the flow of how it works, and then also share it with other people and see how it helps them. Super, super awesome feeling. So if you want AI to build you an iOS app, you're going to need a few different programs. So first off, you're going to need Xcode. Xcode is going to be the platform that allows you to deploy your app to your phone, virtual or physical. Now, super easy to set up. You just want to make a new folder, create a new project, and then you're going to have that project folder saved, or at least you're going to know where it is. And then you're going to need the second platform, which is Cursor. Cursor is going to be the platform that allows you to take your code, give it to an AI model, and have the AI build everything for you. So it's super, super cool. It's super easy. It's also really affordable. I pay $20 a month for the Pro plan, and you can get, they have a different pricing model now. They used to have 500 messages per month. Now they don't really say how many you have, but I've been using it a lot, and you can get a lot of use out of it. So essentially, this is my code here. You can see all these different files. I didn't create any of this. AI created all of this, and like there's files and files and files, and it's crazy. And it did take me a fair amount of time, but like I said, I mean, it's getting better and faster as the days go on. I'll say, like, I've been using Claude 4 a lot to code recently. I've been doing some updates on the apps, and the amount of errors that Claude 4 is creating is probably 70 to 80% less than what Claude 3.5 was. So really happy with that. It's speeding up the process of creating things much faster. Okay, so once you're in Cursor and you actually want to start building your app, one of the most important things you want to start off with is adding some information to Cursor so that it knows how to build the proper apps. Now, like I said, it's getting better and better at knowing what structure to use for example, Swift, which is how you build iOS apps, but giving it the pages, the information from Apple themselves, I found to produce better results whenever I'm stuck on certain errors or bugs and things I'm working. I'll refer back to these pages and it'll help me design the app better and quicker. So these are the 2 pages here. I'll leave them in the description, but you just click add doc and you can type in the URL, and these are going to index these pages. So it's going to pull the information from these pages, and it's going to allow you to then reference them later on. So literally all you do is you type in @ and for this case, I named them Apple Swift and Apple Design Tips. So you just do @ Apple Swift and Apple Design Tips. And now I can say anything. I could say, based on this info, create me a new homepage for my app. And I'm not going to do that because it's going to change my whole app, but you could do that. And based on the information that Apple gives about how to build an app, what good design tips are, what, spacing is, how much stuff there should be, colors, etc., all that stuff is in these website files. So you use this information and the app is going to, the AI models are going to know how to build the app properly. Another really useful one is Superbase Docs. You can use any kind of database that you want. Personally, I use Superbase. It's just super easy to install. And this is a really big tip that I found, where the first 2.5, 3 weeks of creating my app, I was manually updating and changing all of the database structure in Superbase by myself. So I would basically get AI to tell me. It would be like, hey, like, you need to go do this in the database, and it would give me like an SQL file, and I have to go into my Superbase database by myself, put the code in, hit enter, it would run it. I get some errors. I go back to AI and go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Then I figured out there's a way you can just get AI, you can get your cursor model to connect directly to Superbase. And you know how I did it? I literally just asked AI. I said, AI, how do I connect Superbase? How can I get you to connect to Superbase without me having to do this myself? And it walked me through the steps. It showed me how to do it. I had to create a file and put my code in there and the website URL, something along those lines. And then, boom, I told it, I put the file in there. Can you now try and connect? And it would figure it out, and it knew how to write certain console commands, and it was connecting to my database. And then it was able to edit and read my database, and boom, there we go. That saved me so much time. And it should save me credits too, because now the AI model could go and it could make an edit, and it could see if it worked, and it could run the code itself. It could run the SQL database changed itself and figure out if it worked. And if it didn't work, it would know, and it could just change it itself. So I wouldn't have to use another credit with Cursor. I want to talk about some of the most important skills if you want to develop an app in iOS with AI. So first off, the most important thing I think is persistence. You need to be persistent about what it is that you want. And no matter what happens, you just got to keep going, keep going, keep going. There's times where you're going to want the app to be a certain way, and maybe you got to pivot and you guys have a new idea or a new way of developing that or changing it. It's going to take persistence. There's going to be times where it's frustrating. There was hours. I spend 5 hours, 6 hours sometimes where I'd have one error, and I just keep asking AI over and over again. I try to figure it out myself, couldn't figure it out. And eventually, just through brute force, I'd figure it out, but it took a lot of time. And the great thing is that sort of thing is becoming less and less common. Like I said, I've been building with the new Cursor 4, and the amount of errors that I've had has been 70, 80% reduction. And even now when I do have errors, I have less of them, and AI can usually fix it in one prompt, maybe 2 prompts, whereas previously there was times where I had to prompt it 15, 20 times. Now, what I will say with that is that if you do have an error, if you have an issue and you're trying to fix it in Cursor using AI, the best way that I've found is to just scratch it and restart. Now, this is only if you're like trying to fix an error for like 20, 30 minutes and it's not being fixed. Like you keep giving AI the error and it just can't figure it out. That happened to me a lot, and I would just stop it. I'd be like, okay, delete that file, or I would go back to before I started to edit that one section of the app, and I'd be like, okay, redo this from scratch. Don't even bother, with the edits that we made. And usually that would work. Sometimes, again, I'd still get errors, but usually that's how I'd get past a lot of things. There were times too where I'd have to like sit down, and if AI can't figure it out, like you ask AI, like, hey, can you explain to me how this code works? And it would explain all the breakdown of like, okay, like this part is kind of doing this, and this is talking to this, and then maybe something doesn't line up, and you'd be like, oh wait, like maybe that's why it's happening. And then you could ask AI like, oh, could this be the reason? And then sometimes it's like, oh yeah, that's the reason why. And then boom, it fixes it. So like I said, it is getting better and better though. And these were problems I was having like a few months ago. And recently I've been making edits to my app, and I've had barely any issues at all. So you might not even run into these issues, but if you do, those are going to be some really useful tips. Next up, you're going to want a very creative mindset, because the name of the game is creativity at this point. I mean, you still need to be a little bit knowledgeable about like how things can interact with other things when you're building stuff. But man, in like a year from now, 2 years from now, you're not going to need any of that. Like AI is just going to do everything for you. So the real skill that if you can develop is creativity, having those ideas, having the ideas of what you want it to do, what kind of apps you want. That's going to be where it's really gonna help you out and help you stand out from other people who are also building apps. How useful is what you're doing, and also understanding the user experience, who your user is, how you want to play out. I try to make it as simple, as clean as possible because personally that's what I like, and I'm the target audience for the app. I mean, that's the reason why I built it. So yeah, definitely keep that in mind. You want to try and understand the best way the app should be designed. And there's a lot of little things that you probably wouldn't even think of. That's one weird thing I've noticed while building apps is like the amount of attention to detail that I just take for granted when I'm using other people's apps is crazy. Like there's so many little things that you don't even think like, oh, you need to like actually code that in. You need to like figure out how that works. It's nuts. And it definitely made me appreciate other people and how they've built all these apps, especially without AI. Like the amount of time and effort that it's taken is crazy. And lastly, it's kind of similar to the last point, but understand how you want your app to be used. Understand the workflow that you want people to go through, how you want them to think, how you want them to see, what you want them to see. And understanding that and knowing what your goal is really going to help you tell the AI, and you need to explain to the AI. And that's another tip I'm going to get into next, where again, for a very long time, I was sitting here typing away every single day. And that was probably one of the biggest bottlenecks of me developing AI, because when I have an issue and I'd have to, give AI a lot of context as to what the issue is and how I think I could fix it, or just explaining what I want, it takes a long time to type sometimes. I mean, I can't type super fast, not super slow either, like 70 words per minute, somewhere around there. But sometimes, you're typing like a paragraph to try and explain what it is that you want the AI to do. And sometimes you need to be very specific, so it takes more time. But the biggest hack I found, this app right here. Click, boom. This is an AI voice transcriber. So it runs locally on your computer, or you can use their cloud services, either one. But this is going to translate everything that I say and put it directly into this chat box. Boom, we have it right there. Boom, this is an AI voice transcriber. So it runs locally on your computer. You can use their cloud services, either one, but this is going to translate everything I say and put it directly into this chat box. It's not 100%, but man, oh man, has it saved me so much time. I think this alone, if I just started using a tool like this, or this tool, I don't know when it came out, if I started using this when I first started coding, I probably would have saved literally half the amount of time. And yeah, so that's called Super Whisper. Highly, highly recommended. I'll put the link in the description. I'll put an affiliate link if I can get one. Just, heads up, old disclaimer. But yeah, super. I love this app. I've been using it for basically everything now too. Even just talking to ChatGPT for brainstorming with my other business or whatever it is. I've been using Super Whisper and been such a help. Okay, so a few more tips about the actual prompting. So when you're actually talking to AI and you're describing what it is that you want it to do, try to be as specific as possible. And that's the reason why the voice model helps so much, because you can be really specific and it's not going to take you a bunch of extra time because you're just speaking rather than typing. So one of the biggest things I found is if you're not very specific, sometimes the AI will start editing the wrong things. And I've had a couple times where I made a lot of edits, spent a couple hours building something, like building one part of the app, just to realize that the AI somewhere randomly along the lines changed something else on a different part of the app that we didn't want it to, because I wasn't clear enough about which part of the app we were changing. So that's not very fun, and it's going to set you back quite a bit of time. So try to be as specific as you can. And also sometimes it just doesn't know where you want the edits to be made. So, if I would usually walk through, for example, on my app, I would walk through, be like, hey, I want you to change the daily reflection tab. So can you first go to when you first go to the home screen, and then you click on the reflect button, and then you click on the start daily reflection button, there's a screen that pops up with the title daily reflection. And then from there, I would ask it, okay, now can you make these changes on that page? And that's how I found I had the best results. Now you could also just go through, and if you knew the file names, that'd probably be even better if you knew like the actual blocks of code. But I didn't. I don't know how to code. I know like very basics about how to code, but I really don't know how to code. So I would just talk to AI and tell it to do that. That's vibe coding out here. The tip is saving backups. I have like 40 different backups of my app, and honestly, I can delete a lot of them now. I don't need a lot of them, but really, really useful again, because you're going to do a bunch of edits. Sometimes things are going to go the way you want, and you want to be able to just revert back. There is a way in Cursor as well. So if you're building something out, I'll show you guys here. I've been recently doing some updates, but it's really simple. If you did actually make an edit that you didn't like, if AI made an edit you didn't like, you just scroll up to wherever you put that last edit, and you just hit restore checkpoint, and that's going to put all the previous files back to where they were. You need to be a little bit careful, because if you have AI in agent mode, which essentially allows it to do things for you, like run console commands, delete files, then if it's going to delete files or create new files through the command line, then when you resort back to the checkpoint, it's not going to resort back to with those files there or without those files. So that you need to be a little bit careful. So I mentioned that you want to allow your AI to automatically connect to Supabase or whatever database you're using for the app. And that's going to allow it to create the proper tables and structure of your database. And so you don't have to, saves you more time. But another thing that's been really helpful that's similar to that is allowing your app, or telling your AI to run the code that it's built and build it in Xcode. So essentially, every time you build an app in Xcode, it means you're running through all of your code, and you're seeing if there's any errors. And if there are errors, it'll tell you when you're trying to run it. So you just click this little plus button right here, and this is going to run and build the app on my phone. As you can see, build failed. I'm currently in the process of developing some extra features, so that's why it didn't work. But you can get AI to do this for you. So you can tell it while you're in the little chat window here, you can tell it, hey, after you make these edits, can you run the build, make sure it works? If it doesn't work, read the error, figure out the error, and then iterate and run the build again, and continue this until you figured it out. And again, this is going to save you a bunch of credits, because now you don't need to continuously talk to the chat bot, and you're not sending all these messages, and it's going to save you more time. You just talk to it, you tell it once, and it's going to make the edits. It's going to run the program, see if there's any bugs. If there is, it's going to fix the bugs, check it again, and repeat that until it fixes it. Another tip is taking screenshots of your app. So if you have an issue and you don't want to do what I said before and explain like what's going on, like where you are, you can just sometimes take a screenshot of the page that you want to edit and describe to AI what you want it to do. Or what I've also done is actually just taken like you could take screenshots of anywhere, right? You can click on Mac. You can do this on Windows too with different programs, but you can edit them and you can draw. And I would just draw like, okay, can we, add better spacing here? Can we, change this text here, make this bold, whatever it is. And you can describe it with, arrows and lines and whatever, and then give it to AI. And that's another way you can talk to it. That is it for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. Like I said, I spent a lot of time building apps with Cursor, and I've figured out a lot. And so I think if you apply some of these tips and tricks, they can help you do the same thing and build things a lot faster and a lot easier. If you guys want to see any other videos about coding apps or building things, you let me know in the description what kind of videos you want. I was thinking next, maybe I'll make a little video actually showing the process of how you can build and iterate things. Like I said, I'm currently updating my app right now. I'm adding some more features, adding a better login page and a better kind of onboarding system. So maybe I'll make a video on that. If you guys want, let me know in the description. But until the next video, I'll see you guys.